Hi guys, this is Seema Mehta from The Confident Communicator. Very excited to do this session today on Imperfect Parenting series from The Confident Communicator. It is exciting for two reasons. The first reason is that my partner Deepma is actually going to be joining me right here next to me in another minute or so. And we have a phenomenal guest who's joining us today, and I'll talk a little bit about it in a minute. Today's topic is extremely interesting, but I'm going to start with a bit of a story. So, my daughter, who went to college last week, I was just chatting with her and I said, you know what? You guys are so lucky. We as parents nowadays, we are so open to you guys going for whatever it is that you want to pursue, whatever it is that you want to do. But I remember when I completed my 10th grade, I really wanted to get into a creative field, and my parents said, you've done really well in your 10th. Why would you do that? Go for science or commerce. And I said, and I wish I had the ability to go back to college and do that creative thing, but too late for me. And she said, Mom, why can't you do it now? Push your boundary, do it now. So the topic for today is pushing your boundaries, and my partner is here, Deepma. Hi, Deepa.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Seema.
This is a historic moment because you have joined me live from. We are literally
Right
sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
We have pushed the boundaries of COVID and arrived in the same place. And looks like our guest is also here, so I'm going to let her in.
Yes.
Yeah. Aisha. Here we go.
Approved.
There we go. Hopefully, she should be coming in soon. The person who is joining us today, and there she is. Hi, Aisha.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Can you
Deepma.
hear
Hi,
us
Seema.
clearly? You're able to hear us
Yes.
clearly?
Yes.
Awesome. So,
Yes.
Aisha is.
What about you? You can
great,
hear me
great.
too,
We can
right?
hear you. Yeah, slightly soft, but I think we can hear you. Can you?
Yes,
hear us,
yes.
right?
Yeah, that's what is
So I was just.
same thing. That's what slightly I can hear you.
Yeah. So I was just talking to the viewers and the parents who keep sending us a lot of messages about new topics, and we thought, you know what? The last couple of weeks, Deepa and I have been the ones talking to each other, and it's time to call maybe somebody who is experienced and who has an expertise, and somebody we really enjoy working with. And of course, we have to think about you, which is Aisha Shah. She is the sub editor at a very cool magazine newspaper for kids called My Paper. They have a reach of about 10,000 plus readers. They are, I think, based in Pune and Bombay, right? If I'm not mistaken. And
Yes, that's true.
she's also a parent blogger, a teacher, and a counselor. So she's been very closely associated with kids. And one interesting thing about My Paper is that the Confident Communicator has participated in their editorial. We send in a lot of our own writings and our own essays to them. And we are so excited because today Isha is here with us to talk about a very interesting topic, which is pushing boundaries. I was just telling the viewers how important it is to push boundaries, but I want to say, how are you, Isha? How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good. All okay. Here
All
in
okay?
Ahmedabad, yes, it's a bit hot, but
Yes.
it keeps raining on and off, so the weather is not too cool. But yeah, otherwise it's fine. I envy you people being in Bangalore.
I agree. I agree. We are so lucky and we are so spoiled here in Bangalore because the weather is fantastic. We're really enjoying it. So, I started the conversation with a conversation that I had with my daughter last week before she went off to college. She studies abroad, and she was telling
Wow.
me that you know what, Mom, it's not too late. You can push your boundary. You can go and do whatever it is that you want even now. And I said, you know what, that's true. Before we get into telling our kids to push their boundaries, I think first it's important for us as individuals to push our boundaries, isn't it? What do you have to say about that? What do you think about our topic today?
Absolutely. And I truly believe that we need to practice before we preach. We keep saying this, that kids learn by observing. The very first thing that, how does a kid learn, everything, basic thing, it's basic motor skills also,
Yes.
they are observing us. So it is all by observation. So if we keep it really simple, and they are seeing us pushing our own boundaries, they are seeing us putting in efforts to do something that we really like, but are just scared or say apprehensive of attempting to try.
Correct.
So maybe it is more about how they are seeing us, what we do in our life. The entire process becomes very simple. Then you don't have to keep say like I say, when you're creative, how can you be not pushy? You don't have to push them to do anything. You just have to be a great
Exactly.
example.
I don't think you can get anything creative done if you push people. But here's an interesting thing: the Confident Communicator is partnering with My Paper for a very exciting event, which is the competition, and we are going to talk about something creative here, which is called Story Spinners, which is a writing challenge. It's for kids ages 9 to I think 15 or 18, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And we are
60.
going to put in a little bit more details about this competition in our
in the post and comments.
in the post and comments. So we want all the kids who are interested in writing, who are creative and want to maybe went and talk about how they have pushed their boundaries, because we're going to talk about that right now. But we'll send you all the details in our post.
There's one thing that I just wanted to say very quickly. We were talking about, Aisha, you said about how parents role model, right? Not just parents, but adults in children's lives role model behavior. And we had a parent, remember, Seema, who came up to us and said, how do I teach gratitude? How do I teach my child to be thankful and grateful? And, he's always, there's a little bit of an ego where he doesn't like saying thank you. He doesn't like showing gratitude. So how do I push him? How do I force him to say that? And our only question to her was, as long as you're doing it, he's going to get it. Right? As long as you are saying thank you, as long as you are making that effort to go down the road and say, I'm really grateful you did this for me, or I'm so happy that you did that for me, or whatever, he's going to see that. And it may not happen right away, but he's going to learn gratitude from you, not from some some theoretical aspect that we teach him. So I really think that you really hit the spot there on how do we inspire our kids by being inspiring, I think.
So let me ask you this question, Isha. I mean, we are talking about pushing boundaries. So that means a lot of people who stay within their comfort zone, they are the ones who don't push their boundaries. So what does it mean to stay in your comfort zone? Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
So I think when we say we don't move out of the comfort zone, what happens is we are only focusing that we have to say overcome our weaknesses. So I have a different point of view here, which I would like to mention, that we keep working on our weaknesses so much that we forget to work on our strengths. So if we are working more on our strengths, very consciously, and are persistent with that, then we get the strength or the motivation to work on our weaknesses that will help us come out of our comfort zone.
Absolutely.
When you see, you have to experience success to be accepting failure.
Yes.
Unless and until you don't have that success, you have not made that mistake, you're not so something that you like to do, maybe it is not always say necessary that you do something that you love and you are always going to be successful in it. Simple thing, you are making a drawing, you love to draw, but it would not come out as you want.
Correct.
But you will try. You will keep doing it because
I think
you like
it's
to do
because
that.
there are two factors here. I think one is the underlying fear, right? That I may not do it well. I'll mess it up, or I'll not succeed. The other is the perfection angle, right? Like whatever we do, it has to be perfect. It has to come out perfectly. And I think if we take away that pressure, that know what, try it. It doesn't have to come out right. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think you're right. Absolutely. Then people will want to then get out of their comfort zone and push their boundaries. Very true.
Correct. And you have to just make an effort. It is about making an effort. So once you are doing that, you are pushing your boundaries. You are coming out of your comfort zone. You are taking small steps, set smaller goals. Why are we only thinking about the outcome or the result? We are not thinking about the process. So when we set up small goals, we are on a daily basis, we are coming out of our comfort zone.
Correct.
Simple thing like if you try out some new recipe and you are doing it, never tried it before, that is coming out of the comfort zone. You have not tried that recipe before, right? It's a new thing.
Correct.
So the simple examples, and parents, like you mentioned, Deepma, about the gratitude diary, even parents have to be, it is not that the parents have to just do that once or twice. The child has to see that the parent is doing that particular activity or is consistently.
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely right.
And I
Learning by
think you
example.
said a beautiful thing, Asia, just now. I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, where if you're accepting of your own failures and if you're okay with not being the best at whatever it is that you're trying, automatically the children that you are around, whether it be students like for us or your own children, automatically they become okay with their own failures. And that's the key to confidence, is it not?
But
Correct.
let me ask you another question. So,
Yes.
most of us as parents, we want our kids to do well. Academics is top of the mind for most Indian parents for sure. And it's all
Yes.
about getting good scores and getting into a great college, and then setting your career and future and all those things. So at what point should you push, and at what point should you not push? Because I remember we had one student who had joined our class, our communications class, and she was in the seventh grade, and her parents had already put her in a, I think, one of those medical, those
Entrance exam.
NEET or NEET entrance
Yes,
exams,
yes.
and she used to come to class exhausted and tired. And after about 5 6 sessions, we realized that she is not really being very productive and not learning anything, and she's looking exhausted. So we talked to the parents, and we found out that she goes to these classes, and we told them, you know what, let's put her on hold. Let her come back when she's a little bit more free, and we will not charge you when you come back again. She can just join the class anytime, but I want her to be fully vested in the process. 3 years later, she joins our class one more time, and at this time what we noticed is that she had dropped science completely. In fact, she had gotten into drama and theater, and we were completely surprised.
Wow.
But she was very relaxed, she was very comfortable, she was open to learning. And I think that she sort of pushed her boundary, where the parents were trying to push her boundary by saying, you are academically very smart, you should go for science. On the other hand, she pushed the boundary back, saying that, you know what, this is what I'm interested in. So at what point, in your opinion, should you push the boundary, and when should you not?
I think it should be a joint decision. When only when you are going to include the child in making the decision for their future, then they are going to be acceptable, to whatever decision you will, or suggestions that you will make as well. So they should know that they are part of that particular process. Whenever you are making a decision, or for example, in your case, this student did not want to do it. So the parent gave that liberty to that child, must have, or let gone of
Yeah,
that particular aspiration
correct,
that they had for her, at some
correct.
point. So it is about being together, make them involved in decision making process, so that
Yes,
you don't have to become pushy in the
correct.
first place. Okay, but
But
they make the
sometimes we
choice.
feel, as parents, we feel, "Oh, maybe our kids are being a little lazy, they're not working hard. So should
Yeah.
we push them at that time? So at what point do we
Yeah,
decide,
if we
right?
feel if we feel that they're not making enough efforts, they are good at that. As a parent, you know your child, right? So if you
Yeah,
feel that the child is good at it and he's not making enough efforts, then you need to make that push. But it should
correct.
not look as if it is a nagging thing. You have to make him a part of that process, make him responsible, accountable for whatever decision has been made. Ask him how much the child can push. For example, if it is about a course, that the child does not want to pursue, or say a sport is not pushing, not making the right
Interest.
effort,
Yeah.
but the child knows, or the tutor is saying, or the mentor is saying, the coach is saying that the child is good in it,
I think you had
then
you had talked about your own daughter, right? Who's a swimming champion, and
yes.
how, tell us that
Correct.
story. That's a really good one.
Correct. So she has gone back and forth on choosing swimming as a competitive sport for her. She loves swimming right now. Also, she has gone for her class. She wants to do it, but she. There were times when she was like, "No, I want to go for the competition." Then there were times like, "No, I don't want to do it," during this COVID period. And because we are in Ahmedabad, coaching has resumed here, so I could send her to the pool. And because she's such a social person, she made so many good friends, and she wanted to do it. So now we sat and we discussed that, Mishri, you like to do many things, and we say, if you don't have the time to pursue everything,
Yeah.
then what is it that you choose? So she chose to take up a creative course in design thinking. That is where she wanted to spend her time more than swimming. And she said, yeah, I like to go, but I was thinking, I have not won a medal, should I quit? So
Hmm.
we don't know. But when we are discussing this things with our children, then they will share with us, why is it that they want to do something, they don't want to quit, or why they are not performing at their best. So she was under this pressure of,
Yeah.
getting a medal. I think maybe that was the reason she was not performing, and well, in
Yeah.
her choice of sport that she made. So we have never
Correct.
ever asked her what, go for swimming. I have never said
Mm.
go for swimming or go for tennis.
Correct.
Never. I have asked her what it is required that you should have, should you, when she was like in her third grade, I had asked her, there should be some physical activity that you should be doing. What sport would you choose? And she
Yeah.
chose swimming. So
Yeah.
that is how it has happened with me always. So I firmly believe that if you have made your child a part of the decision making process, then you don't require at a certain point to be pushy. Okay, now the child has made the decision but is not making the right effort,
Correct.
then you
Correct.
push him.
The opposite
That
side.
you
Yeah.
took up responsibility,
Yeah.
you said you wanted to do it,
Hmm.
let's try for one more month.
Correct.
Okay, and one expert told me this, and I have been following this always, because Mishri was very stressed due to her very rigorous swimming practice. She used to swim 3 hours in the evening. She used to be in school for 7 hours. She would get only 45 minutes. She used to finish her maths homework. We would rush her to Andheri from Goregaon for her swim practice, and she would be back only at 9:30. She lost weight, and she could not eat well, and yet she was not ready to quit, okay, because she had not got a medal.
Right.
So as a parent, it was very difficult for me to see her go through this, and yet she was not ready to quit, and I was like, okay, one more competition, that thing.
Correct.
And
Correct.
the expert told me that, why don't you just ask her after she comes from the
Yes.
school that, do you want to go today?
Yeah.
Why are we thinking so much into the future,
Correct.
that, okay, if I push, see, generally why parents push, because they feel that if we'll push right now, then later she will be thankful. When she will be successful in that particular field, she will be thankful to us that we pushed, and then we will not feel that we have made a wrong decision.
No, it's also
But
when we go to PTMs, right? When you go to school PTM and the teacher says,
yes,
you know what, she has great potential, she needs to work harder
yeah,
to reach her potential. It's the messaging also, right? The messaging is that maybe
correct.
they're not doing as much as they are capable of doing. So I think that we as parents have to make that evaluation, whether that, how much to push and what is the level that you should go towards, and what you should, when you should hold back, right? So that's
And
very
I think,
critical.
and sometimes they
Parents,
will
we
go
have
back
to
and forth,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I
So
was just
Mishri was
saying, I
very
think
sad.
as parents, we have to kind of figure out our guilt threshold, right?
Yeah.
Because we're
Correct.
operating from guilt all the time. It brought up such an interesting example in my head when about my son, because it was the same thing. He was in chess and he wasn't doing very well in chess, and so he wanted to give up. And you just brought up the power of, you and your coach, I think, brought up the power of conversation. Because when you include them, like Pallavi and Asha here in the comments said, it's so important to include children in the decision making process. So we went ahead and had that conversation saying, why is it that you want to quit? And he said the same thing, because I haven't won a medal, because I haven't won a tournament, because I haven't won such and such, and everybody's winning, like, I don't know, 10,000 rupees and 5,000 rupees. And we said, but do you enjoy the game? Do you want to continue for the enjoyment of the game? Right? And we did that with him, and we allowed him to kind of go his own way. He did not win too many major tournaments or anything, but today in college, chess is such a stress buster for him. So he's not this big chess grandmaster, but when he's very stressed out with studies, he can go play chess and bring his stress levels down. So I'm so glad that we had that conversation. Why do you want to quit? Instead of just letting him quit.
So I think it's a combination of
not pushing him also not to quit. Oh yes, you are capable. You did not push him. You are capable. You will win a medal, or you will get some prize. That is what you did right by not pushing him, and his interest in that particular activity sustained.
Correct.
Which is helping him now.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is so important.
So I think there are two important points that came out of this conversation. One is that we have to involve the children in every decision making, so that everything. See, because there are two types of thoughts on that. One is, I think we are giving our children too many options. We are giving them too much choice. You know, we are being extremely like we are more like friends than we are parents. But I think that you cannot have a child sustain, like you said, the interest in a long term unless they are vested in the decision. So we've got to include them in the decision. But there's also the other side, right? The comfort zone side, where there is a bit of science also involved, right? The neuroscience research suggests that the brain's function, the emotional side of the function, there are two sides. One is the prefrontal cortex and the other is the emotional side. The emotional side's function is to protect you from anything that can go wrong. So that is why when we are scared to do something, the fear sets in and we don't do it. So that's what the brain does, right? That's what the brain does to you, which is why we choose to remain in the comfort zone. But neuroscience also suggests that when you step out of your comfort zone, it has a very positive effect on your brains, right? So do you want to talk a little bit about the science part of it also? And it's not just we are just talking, but there is a science behind it.
Absolutely. And when we have studies which suggest this, then we should, that is why, if a child, say, doesn't want to do something, we, like I said, that as parents, we recognize that, that it's a fear of failure. We need to just push, motivate, encourage our children to move out of that fear of failure. So for me, it was, as a child, I could, I remember this incident. I had only once participated in an elocution competition, and I fumbled on the stage. I was crying in front of the entire school. I would have never even thought in my life that I'm doing this kind of lives. I'm communicating with so many students on a daily basis. I am, I started blogging. I'm attending events. I'm in a completely social kind of a career. I could have never imagined myself. But for my daughter, because I wanted to set a good example to her, I wanted her to watch me, that someone, as a person who is pushing myself out of it, because I believe that I can do it. It's only that I am scared of the failure. So I think that is what I did. Another example was when I would always comment on her swimming when we go for competitions, and she would tell me, you don't know how to swim, how can you comment? You got scared and you left swimming, so you can't comment on that. So that was an eye-opener. I said, of course I'll have to show her that I have overcome my fear of the water. It's an important skill. It is not that it is about something that you should know swimming. It was like, it is an important skill that I should learn, and I gave up on something just because of the environment that I was in. Few people bullied me into, no, you should not swim and things like that. That was the reason I had given up. Correct. And that my daughter knew. So she was like, you came under that entire influence and you did not pursue something. So how can you tell me? And I pushed my boundaries. I learned to swim at the age of 36. And when I went into the water, I actually remembered, because when as a young child, I had
exactly.
So it is like, I even tell my students and everyone this only, that, unless you don't, jump into the water, you don't know whether you're going to drown or swim. So you have to,
absolutely
make that.
I mean, I think it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of energy and effort to really push yourself outside the comfort zone. And again, let's not give the excuse of age. I think hats off to you that at 36 you went back and you did that. That is absolutely phenomenal. And like I was talking about the neuroscience of it also, it's like, you have a garden, right? If you have a garden and there is one patch of the garden which is green, but the other patch of the garden has not been used, it has not been irrigated, it has not been fertilized, it is going to go barren. Your brain is exactly like that. When you try new things, when you push your boundaries, is when that garden will blossom all over. So that's why what a lot of these scientists are saying is that don't give up on trying, because the fear is always going to make you not try. But the prefrontal logical mind will say, no, give it a shot. At the most, what will happen? You'll fail. Try something else and keep going. So we've got to find that balance between the emotional versus the logical side of our brain. But there's an interesting question that I think Suraj has put in the comments, which is, we also need to make children accountable for their decisions. So what would you like to say about that? That's a very valid point.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I said, when you make your children part of the decision making process, they know that they have to be accountable and responsible for whatever they are doing. That's why it is very important to, and I absolutely agree with what Suraj has been saying, because that is how our generation has been grown. That's what our parents did with us.
Yes.
Whenever they have told us, like my father always used to tell me, after I was an adult, said, you are an adult, you are responsible enough, and you should be accountable. I will say this yes or no. Okay, you have come to me, I will say this or this, but ultimately it is your decision. You have to be accountable and responsible for your own decision. Okay, so don't come and tell me later on, why didn't you tell me to do this?
Correct. Correct.
But also there is
Because
one
I'm
more point.
already telling you what you need to do.
One more point, Aisha. See, I was looking at this one account on Instagram where there was this little boy. He was probably 1 or 2 years of age, and he apparently showed a lot of interest in cooking and food. So his mom would take these videos where she would show him, spilling the water, and he's trying to make a sandwich where everything is oozing out and things are spilling and it's a mess. And as a parent, who maybe as a helicopter parent, I was looking at this whole image and saying, oh my God, my blood pressure is going up. Look at this mom. She's so chilled and relaxed. But I think that whole thing about giving your child the space to experiment and to fail gives them the confidence and the sense of self-efficacy, right? The self-efficacy is where I can do this myself. I have the ability to do this myself. Will only come when we back off and allow them to make those mistakes, allow the spills, allow things to fall, and then the child will start becoming more and more confident in what they're doing. Because otherwise, as parents, we'll keep saying, "Arey, don't do this. You'll drop this. You'll do this." How does the confidence go up when we constantly stop our children from doing everything? So that helicoptering has to back off. We have to allow our children to make mistakes, and we have to allow them to be involved, like you said, in making any decisions. And like Suraj very rightly said, once you make the decision and it is your choice, you need to be accountable. So I think these three very, very relevant points have come. And the fourth one is, of course, use the different parts of your brain. Don't give up. Keep trying something new. So I think this is what pushing boundaries is all about. And I think it's not just our kids, but we as parents and individuals also need to do that. And let's go back to our fantastic competition that we are coming up with. I want you to talk a little bit about that. The story spinners that my paper is doing with the Confident Communicator.
Collaboration,
So I am not eligible, but I would have written about my speaking experience.
Yes.
So,
can you give us some examples, Aisha, about pushing boundaries? I know one of them for me that really stands out is when I talk to my children about subjects that they have to study, and there are some subjects that you love and there are some subjects that you hate, right? Up to 10th standard, you're still having to study all of them. And I remember saying, "Bhai, I'm not telling you Albert Einstein बनना है, physics पढ़ो, या PhD in English literature करना है, चलो English करो." नहीं, but you need English to answer your science paper. You need science to go up to a certain point. You need a certain level of understanding of every subject. And that is why you have to, even if you have a boundary, even if you have a mental block against something, if you're fearful about something, it doesn't matter. We're not asking you to become the PhD in that subject, but you're going to have to clear it to go to the next class. Can you give us some other examples about, what children could write about in story spinners?
Tell us a little bit about the competition. Give us some more details about it so that our viewers and maybe their children will be inspired after this conversation, because all the things that you have said, all the examples and stories you've told us are so amazing. And I hope that more and more people are going to push boundaries. And one way to express yourself is through this competition called Story Spinners. So just tell us a little bit more about that.
So, my paper wants, so this is what my paper is all about, about pushing your boundaries, about, something why we are associated with reading. But most of the times what happens is you have to, most of the kids, they must be coming to you also that, my child doesn't read, and, they are more, because they are so much into gadgets and everything.
Correct.
So we want my paper to be a medium where with this interesting content that children the parents get pushed to, even help the child push their boundaries, come out of their comfort zone, keep that gadget and read something,
Yes,
So
yes,
that is
true.
what our aim is, and that's why this entire challenge that we have on our 9th anniversary. And I'm so happy that we have the confident communicator with us to collaborate on such a fantastic, because your, you know, even you are into the same kind of creating the same kind of awareness in our society, and for our children. And I think Story Spinners is going to be a fantastic competition where we are going to encourage children to come and write about small things. Like our editor has published a very nice
I was just about to
video.
say that. Yeah.
Is talking about her, having this. She did not want to do the video, but she did it, and she pushed her boundary.
Yeah.
I think we're going to share that video at the end of this session. We're going to share that video also. Yes.
We are asking children very simple things like, how did you conquer your fear of the dark? Right? Or how did you push yourself? And she said, I love that the fact that she's talking in the video about it doesn't have to be a personal experience. It could be something that inspires you about someone else also. It could be a story that you spin right off the top of your head about
you
some,
can go
fictional characters.
Explore whatever you want to,
I think
we want to give children to be creative enough to just explore themselves, think about whatever they want
what
to.
What kind of entries can they send you? They can send fiction, non-fiction, poems, anything, right?
Yes.
And how many words are we talking about? Like
250 words maximum.
Okay. And anybody and there are 3 categories, and we have 2 amazing judges. We have 2 amazing judges who are going to judge the entries. We are so excited about those 2 judges. You want to talk a little bit about the judges? One of them is, of course, our very own Rupa Pai, who is from Bangalore, and she's written some amazing books for kids. And she's definitely, she's so excited about this this competition, and she's going to be one of the judges. But if you'd like to talk about Aparna a little bit.
Yeah, I think they were very generous enough, both
very
of them.
Nice of them, absolutely appreciate
to judge, come and judge, because they have such expertise in this field. They have written books. They are themselves authors, and so I think they know why it is important, to have every child, because reading, writing is a way of expression. Which gives so much of it gives you power, it gives you liberty, and it gives you so much of strength. I feel that is how writing has helped me in my life. So
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
And Hilly, there's so many lovely prizes to win.
Yes, we have a
How amazing
hamper.
is that? Yeah,
we have a fantastic hamper also coming for all our kids, and it is going to be very interesting. We want more and more entries so that it becomes difficult for us to judge and give up the prize.
Year, right? The last 1.5 years has been tough. We've gone through a crisis, and we've all pushed through that crisis. And there's so many things that we have learned out of that crisis. I mean, Deepa and I have been conducting communication classes for the last 8 years, and we've never done it online. And this is the first time that we had to go online. Even this live thing was pushing a boundary for us. Everything is pushing your boundaries, but we are having so much fun.
It was good, my child sitting in Ahmedabad could take your class in Bangalore. So
that's right.
That's true. Yes.
Actually, so much good came out of it.
Very good.
That is the point.
Absolutely.
You push the boundary, something good will come out of it. Always, something you will learn.
Absolutely.
You will always learn something.
And it
is all about learning.
Yes.
So we can share. Children can share these experiences as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe they have got their own experience of online schooling.
And actually, kids go through so much, right? They go through bullying in school. Sometimes it's about acceptance. It's about just sitting at lunch and there's nobody sitting next to them. There are so many situations in which you can talk about how you pushed your boundary, how you actually crossed that comfort zone and went into that panic zone. But that's where the magic happens. And this has been an amazing conversation. Isha, it's so lovely to have you, and I hope you come back and chat with us one more time. And we'll put all the information about the Story Spinner competition in our post, and we'll be also on Instagram. And we would also like to say thank you so much, Isha and Asha My Paper to join us and collaborate with us, because we love working with people who have the same ideology as us. And hopefully we'll meet again.
And definitely,
thank you so much for having me. And for my inputs, I'm glad that I could share my experiences with all of you. It will just I hope it is about sharing each other's experiences which help us to push our boundaries. So I think we can have one of such contests for adults as well.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I hope my paper is listening.
Sounds good. Thank you, Aisha. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Bye. So nice.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Keep
Bye.
sending
Have a
us your
good day.
questions, any queries, and we'll continue next Wednesday for our Imperfect parenting series. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be an imperfect parent. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Did it finish?